Welcome to the Fielder Report. I'm Kathy Fielder, and I'm here with PR extraordinaire, Cynthia Smoot. She is actually my publicist and a partner at Gangway Advertising, based out of Dallas. And we are here today to chat about everything that you want to hear and more. So, Cynthia, tell me, obviously the pandemic is at the forefront of everyone's thought process right now. And so tell me kind of what you have found to be the biggest changing or forceful factor for you through the pandemic.
Well, I think it's been really interesting as a marketer because typically when something happens and budgets get tight, marketing is the first thing that gets cut. So having gone through something like this in 2008 with the housing recession, it was so difficult. We lost so many clients. It's like if you're a bar and Benny Keith rolls in a case of beer every Friday, that's a product that you have to have. But how you market getting customers in to drink that beer is something that maybe you can do yourself.
Sure.
And so marketing is usually, again, one of the first things to get cut.
So being the PR guru that you are, because we all know that you're great at what you do.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Tell me, small businesses, like you were saying earlier, the budgets are cut. And how do we stay relevant and stay on top of marketing whenever we might not be able to have the marketing budget we had before? What would be your number one piece of advice that you would give a small business in order to continue to try to grow and grow out of this and become bigger and better because of it?
Well, I think whether you have a team or it's just you, I would say my number one tip is you have to pay attention to your social media. It is your lifeline to talking to your customers. And the great thing about it, as you know, Kathy, is that you can post something and relay a message to your fan base instantly.
Right.
So if you got a shipment in this morning, maybe that was unexpected or, and you wanted to get it out there, all you do is snap a pic, put it on Instagram, and in 5 minutes you can be selling off of your account. So it's social media. It's not only a great way to get your marketing message out there, but it's an amazing customer service tool. So I would say also while you're posting, it's not just you're not just pumping messages out, but ask questions. What do you want to see from your customers? It's like, here's some new things we got in. What else would you like for us to carry?
Engage with us. Tell us what you need
Tell
from
us
us.
what you're looking for. What would make your life easier? What do you want to see more of? Are you loving this blush edit, or would you like to see some darker tones? I think it's asking questions and really utilizing that free database of consumers that you have to get information that's going to put you above your competition, keep them engaged, invested in who you are in your business. It's been super interesting this time around since the pandemic hit. I was joking the other day to my husband that I've never felt like I had so much job security, because I think that the reason it's completely different this time around is because it's constantly changing. And so having somebody to get your messaging out is critical to your survival. And I think, Kathy, you're a perfect example of that. In fact, that's the reason we started working together.
Absolutely.
You called me when the pandemic hit and said,
hey,
I'm having,
Yes.
you were having to completely pivot your business model. You said, I am going to be importing masks. I feel a calling to help my community. How do I get the word out?
and how do we do it the right way?
Right.
Because the message is so much different than it was 6 months ago for all of us, no matter what we're doing, whether you're importing masks or you're, doing clothing at a boutique. There's just a different message and a different lifestyle right now.
Exactly.
And so that's one question that I have for you is, obviously you're not going to events any longer, or for now. I know. I miss gowns and heels and beautiful hair and makeup. And
I was so happy to have a reason to put on makeup today and do my hair.
I know, until I get dressed up, right?
Yeah.
I mean, the first thing I noticed when you walked in are your heels, and I was like, oh, that's so lovely. But, style has changed, obviously. We're working at home much more, and we're distanced and all of these things. So how do you feel like your style has morphed and changed over the past 6 months?
It's changed a lot, and I think prior to the pandemic, I had two very separate wardrobes. I had my daytime business look, and then I had my I'm at home look, two very separate identities. Now I feel like they're much more meshed together,
Agree.
which is why I love.
It's a little more relaxed.
Yes.
And you can really actually be that person
Right.
all the time.
Well, we joked that we're calling it pandemic chic because it's just that more relaxed, comfortable. Like, I still want to look cute,
Right.
but casual. And so I'm looking for fun and flirty dresses that I can, put on and be comfortable in our 100-degree heat, but still
Well, I was
goes.
about to say, we're outside all
Right.
the time, and so you're not wearing what you used to wear because you need to be able to like have breathability and
Right.
stay cool as well as look great. And do you sometimes feel like if you get super dressed up that you look kind of
Yes.
overdone, like you're out of place because everybody's wearing like their
Right.
athleisure wear and all this stuff, and so like you get dressed up and people are like, well, what's that for?
Well, even now that I feel like, the rules are starting to relax, restaurants went from 25% to 50 to, you're still being encouraged to eat outdoors. So even the lunch
Right.
meetings or happy hours that I'm having where I am meeting with friends or clients, whereas before we probably would be inside in July or August, now we're sitting out on the patio because we feel it's safer. And so you have to have clothing that is cool and comfortable, but you still want to look good.
Absolutely. And then you talk about masks, and the whole new look, how to wear a mask, what to wear, how to match it with your outfit, all of those things, right, that you're sitting outside or as you're going through an establishment. So that's something I found very interesting. And I never thought I would see happen, is wearing a mask all the time. It's just the strangest.
Who would have predicted that the mask is the accessory of
Oh
2020?
my goodness gracious, right? I mean, like I now have monogram masks and all of these different things, and it is the accessory. It used to be phone cases and clutches, and now we have to figure out the
Now
right
it's a
mask.
mask.
That's right. So, well, tell me a little bit about, so obviously we all went to working at home. And you work closely with your husband, who's also a partner in your firm, Gangway Advertising.
Yes.
Tell me how that was, or was it any different?
So actually, Gangway is actually Randy's company that I came into several years ago. So now we are partners in the business. And so we have worked from home for a long time. The difference is Randy's typically the one who's based in the home office most of the day.
Right.
And I was the one who was out at client meetings, at events. So even though I technically work from home, I was pretty much gone most of the
Right.
day and into the evening for events. And so now that we're both at home 24/7, it's been a lot. It's been a lot.
I think like the first month of it, I was really literally almost losing my mind because I was homeschooling kids and husband working from home and always a conference call or a Zoom or whatever.
Yeah.
And so, but I think now it's kind of calmed down. I feel like it's a better place where we actually have kind of a good synergy going. And so I'm actually grateful for that from the experience of COVID. And so I'm wondering what has been probably the best thing to come out of COVID for you?
Well, I think the answer I'm going to give you is probably the answer that you're hearing from everybody, which is it's caused us to spend more time with our families, to refocus our priorities on what's really important, and to pay more attention to those relationships. So I think just having the ability to spend more time with your kids, you've told me, has been such a blessing,
It really
even though
has.
you were wanting to pull your hair out for the first couple months. It's sort of like now that you've settled into it,
Yeah, everybody downshifted.
and everybody kind of has their routine, and
Yeah.
you kind of know what your day is going to be. It's gone from being on high alert to sort of like, okay,
Right.
we know the drill. We know what we're doing. We know
Yeah.
how this works, and everybody's kind of gotten into a rhythm. And I think it's kind of a rhythm that we like.
Well, I think so. And, I feel like just from watching my family, we were always going. We had to be at golf, or we
was
had
exhausted.
to be exhausted. And so it actually took a month to kind of realize that, hey, we actually don't have to be anywhere, and that's okay.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, I feel like it kind of took some of the stress off, which made everybody kind of calm down a little bit. So, for me, I would say that that's been one of the greatest things that, when
Yeah.
we've talked about it. But
Well, and going back to prioritizing what is really important, what's important in your relationship with your husband, with your
Absolutely.
family at home, with your business, I think it's really allowed people to slough off some of the stuff that just didn't
they
matter.
probably wanted to slough it off
Yes.
already anyway. They just couldn't do it because of whatever, all the
It's been a great excuse to just cut some of that stuff loose,
get rid of it.
get rid of it. And I feel like as we come out of this, people are really, I think we're going to kind of want to stick to this slower lifestyle. I feel
Right.
like as Americans especially, like we were so pressured to go 100 miles an hour because that was
Absolutely.
the American way, like, keep going, never stop. And I think now that we've seen, it can be done a different way and you can still make it work. I don't plan on going back.
I will never go back to it. I really won't. I have found that I'm
Pinky
so
swear?
Pinky
Okay.
swear. Now, I'm not saying I will never put on heels again because that is happening and I cannot wait. But yes, I'm never going back. I just know that I'm so much more centered, so much more grounded. I just feel like this breath of fresh air, and I'm grateful for that. So that would probably be my biggest, yeah, what's the word I'm looking for?
Blessing.
Biggest
that's
blessing
come out of
that's
this.
come out of this. That's right. So last question for you. Tell me, you obviously with what you do, doing PR, you have such a great experience and you get to meet so many wonderful people. And I'm just curious, that's obviously changed for you so much, these face-to-face meetings and meeting new people and all of these dynamic situations that you've been through. Tell me kind of some of your favorites from the past, maybe, and then kind of where you see things going in the future.
Well, I have to say one of the highlights of my professional career was getting to attend BravoCon last November in New York City, which was Bravo's 3-day convention for all of their shows. It was like Christmas, Valentine's, Easter, my anniversary, birthday, all rolled into. It was like the best 10-year high school reunion you've ever been to. With like everybody there was so hot and cool and fun, and I was just like,
it's like a kid in a candy store.
Yeah, yeah. That was probably my most fun and chaotic experience as a publicist. I was there with one of my clients, Leanne Locken, who's on Real Housewives of Dallas. So I was there professionally, but just as a fan of all of those reality shows, that was super fun. I enjoyed that.
Of course, that's amazing. Like, who would not want to go, right?
Leanne kept saying, like, "Hey, over here, like you're working
you're
for
working
me,"
for
and I was
me.
like, "Hold on, I've got to get a selfie with Countess Luann. I'll be right there."
Yeah, no, that would be kind of awesome.
Yeah.
So
that was a fun experience.
absolutely. Cynthia, I've had such a great time chatting with you today. I think you have such a dynamic voice, and I appreciate you spending some time with me here on the Fielder Report.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. If you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button, and on Instagram, turn on notifications for our next Fielder Report coming your way soon.